Now, having looked at question 1A, we can move on and look at 1B. Reads as follows. Mezzanine debt can be viewed as a filling as filling either a gap in a country's financial structure or a gap in the supply of capital in the financial markets. This makes mezzanine financing extremely flexible. In the context of the above statement, explain 5 characteristics of mezzanine debt that help to distinguish it from other sources of financing and other types of investment. So we're trying to look at the characteristics of mezzanine debt. So we can say B right here. Mezzanine debt is a hybrid between debt and equity, which gives the lender the right to convert an ownership interest of a company in case of default. After the venture capital and other lenders are paid. After the venture capitalists and others or other lenders are paid. So we are saying that mezzanine debt is a hybrid between debt and equity. Please look at the video for private equity, where we are actually trying to distinguish the categories of private equity investments. We've got the equity types of private equity investments. We have got the debt types of private equity investments, and the component of mezzanine debt, which is a hybrid between debt and equity right there. Now, the second difference, too, we can say mezzanine debt has an expense ratio. Mezzanine debt has an expense ratio, or what we say an operating margin, Third characteristic is that the company being funded, we can say, being funded, gains capital while increasing leverage. So we're saying the company being funded gains capital while increasing the component of leverage, or the debt component. Number 4, we can say that the company gains lower cost of capital. The company gains lower cost of capital. To owners and we can say, and high returns to investors. High returns to investors. We can also say that they offer a cheap source of capital to the owners. Rather, we can be able to say, yes, as part of this point, we can say that the company gains lower cost of capital and to the owners, and the hybrid and the high returns to investors there. So we are saying that in spite of looking at what mezzanine debt has to offer, we can also say that the cheap source of capital can be and actually be gotten, because you're saying that firms that do not ordinarily qualify to list or get sources of financing from the exchange, they can be able to be provided for through private equity investment. So we can be able to come and say here that mezzanine debt offers cheap capital to the owners. It offers cheap capital to the owners. We can move on this side. Offers cheap capital to owners. Cheap sources of capital to the owners there. Those are the 5 characteristics that that distinguish mezzanine debt from either the equity types of private equity investments and the debt forms of private equity investments there.